Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is the next video in the mock interview series with UiPath Aspirant. For the people who are coming to the channel for the first time and haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel to get the latest updates. In the mock interview series, I am taking interview for candidates based on their experience and the skill set. Please note that this mock interview is not for any job opportunity or any of the company. This is just for training purposes. In case you are also interested to have a mock interview, all you have to do is just send me your resume on the email address which is available in the description, and we shall take it forward. Also, this mock interview is absolutely free for you, so you don't have to worry about anything. Also, your confidential details such as your name, company information, project information, everything stays with me, right? So you don't need to worry about any of this. In case you are looking for interview for a different experience, you can watch the playlist which is available in the description, and it has a lot of interview as per different skill set and different experience. For today's mock interview, I have got a candidate whose name is Rakesh. He is having experience of 4 plus. Prior to the development, he was working as a support executive, and now he is working as a developer. He wanted to have a mock interview with me, and at the end of this video, I am going to tell Rakesh that what are the questions he have answered correctly, what are the questions he have answered incorrectly, and some feedback that how we can improve upon. Okay, so let's get started with today's mock interview.
Okay. Okay. So, hi Rakesh. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
Rakesh.
So, Rakesh, I have got your resume for the mock interview. The format of the mock interview is absolutely simple. I'll ask you the question based on your resume. You have to answer me, and at the end, I am going to tell you the answers for all the questions which you have answered me incorrect, and also I'm going to suggest you the feedback to improve upon the live interview. Okay.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Okay, cool. So let's get started by having a quick introduction about yourself.
So, Mukesh, I have 4.0 years experience into UiPath totally into automation. So, at the beginning of my career, I started as a uh, support guy, and I worked around 6 months there, and then I moved to development later on. So my roles and responsibilities in support and development are just going to explain at the beginning. So my roles and responsibilities as a support guy is like I used to manage Orchestrator and run the jobs and arrange the triggers, even used to create assets and queue items. And also like even I used to manage servers, and even I used to work on regression testing, write test cases, prepare BDDs, SDDs, these kind of stuff I used to manage. So after 6 months, I moved to development. So in development, I used to get all the PDDs from my BA. So once I get the PDDs, I used to work on coding part and even work on unit testing, UAT part, production dump. I mean, I used to push the code to production. Even I used to give hypercare in production environment. So once everything is done, used to prepare SDDs. So SDD includes everything about the bot, like how the bot runs and at what time it triggers and what times it starts. Every information, if any issues comes, what exactly need to be done, and like whom they need to contact, and what are the business exceptions and what are the system exceptions now. How to handle all this stuff included in the STD. So these I used to prepare in the development. So these are my roles and responsibilities. And coming to my work experience, I work for banking domain and financial domain, also for health sector domain. So do you want me to continue with my last project so that?
Yes, yes, yes. That would be that. That was my next question. So you can just tell me about your last project, right? You have to just tell me the problem statement. Do not necessarily name the client and all, but just tell me about the automation as a whole.
Sure. So Mukesh, so my last project is AP invoice. So in this is a banking domain process. So I'll just explain these manual steps, even included the robot steps. So according to the requirement, usually we get some account numbers in a mail, in Excel format, in Excel. So once we get account numbers in Excel, Bot usually downloads the Excel file based on the subject line and the file name and stores in a folder or in a shared drive. So once it stores, so the dispatcher does all these things usually. So the dispatcher then downloads the file and push all account numbers to the orchestrator. So once it is done, the performer starts. So based on the queue based trigger, usually the performer runs. So once all the account numbers are added, then our performer starts. So what performer does is like it will extract each and every account and go to a particular application called App Store. So once it enter account number there, it will give all the details like the account holder name and what exactly the due date and how much due he has and all the stuff about the account holder, even the mail ID. So once we get all the details from the particular application, web application, bot usually extract them and stores in some variables and arguments, and it will pass to the next step. So so after we get all the information about the account holder, the next step is like based on the particular state. Suppose let us say if the account holder belongs to New York or any other Texas, so based on the state, it usually navigate to the particular website, and it will enter the account holder details in that particular website. After entering it, after entering it, bot usually click on search. So once it click on search, we get all the details of the account holder and with a PDF in a PDF format, which include other details according to the website. So usually the bot downloads the PDF file and stores in particular location. So once after it is done, then bot usually go to another application that is a mainframe application. It enter the user details again, only account number, and it need to just uh, confirm that okay, all the process is done. So it will just enter. It will type yes, using some coordinates. It will type yes, and it will click enter, so that okay, one account process completed. So the bot usually does for all the accounts and ends up at the end, the bot usually send a mail to the customer stating, okay, these are the accounts processed and these are the accounts not processed. These are the business exceptions you got. These kind of stuff it usually sends to the user. So this is how our project works. So the main challenges I faced during my process is like first one, the web application. So as you know, the web applications usually include selectors. So one of my web application is little I mean, unstable. So it was updating for every month. So because of that, usually the selectors got changed. So what I did is like I used fuzzy selectors to handle it, but somehow I couldn't able to make much progress on it. So even I fine tuned everything, the selectors are almost all fine tuned. Still, it was not working. At least one or two selectors are getting failed for every 2 months. So then I
Okay,
decided,
okay.
okay,
I
this
understood
doesn't
your
work. So
I understood your project, Rakesh. Everything is good. Now I have a couple of questions based on your project, whichever you have done, right? So
mhm.
I understand the first one is a dispatcher. The second one is a queue-based trigger, right? What time your dispatcher is scheduled?
Dispatcher usually runs at 6 a.m. ECST.
Okay, so 6 a.m. your dispatcher has triggered. It goes to the mail, downloads the Excel, and push it to the queue, right? When you say that you are reading the email, right? Which email is this? Outlook, SMTP, sorry, Outlook, Hotmail,
I'm using
Gmail.
SMTP. I'm using SMTP activities to read.
Okay. Can you tell me what are the details we
And
require in SMTP to connect to the mail server?
so basically, first thing is like every activity required, mail activity requires usually username and password,
Mm-hmm.
and then host name and
Mm-hmm.
port number.
Mm.
Um, yeah,
Okay.
but like it is a secure. If it is
Mm.
if required any attachments, then that can be put in there, and two mail CC BCC. these things required, and even we can mention like the connection is a privacy, like it's are to these things.
Okay. Now, when you say that you have, reading the mails and downloading the Excel, right? So, what is the output when you read the mails in UiPath?
Uh, it's uh, it's a mail list activity. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, it's a kind of list activity. So using that, so if you put a loop there, we can just retrieve one word. I mean,
Okay.
each mail,
So yeah,
so we
it's
can
a
store
list
it.
of mail and we download the Excel, right? Now let's
Yeah.
say, Rakesh, someday what happens that you download the attachments and you read the Excel and you found that the Excel is blank.
Mhm,
Okay, it does not have any data. What happens
mhm.
to the process?
So when we use a read range activity, there it comes an error saying, okay, the object reference not set to instant. So here we can handle it by adding a try catch there,
Hmm?
and then in exception we can throw, okay, so there is no data in it. Otherwise, even we can do something else before we do
Hmm?
that.
Hmm?
I mean, suppose let us say if it contains only headers and there is no data,
Hmm?
better we can check, okay, we just need to check, okay, if the column one or any row one contains data or not.
Hmm?
And I mean, even we need to check something like, okay, the headers are proper.
Yeah.
So the headers which we required or exist or not in the Excel,
So how
that can
would the
be.
robot know where are the headers, right? Let's say I want the header to be first name, last name, right? So how would the robot know whether first name and last name? So where would I usually store this header information? Let's say the headers, the customer is not sure. For first month, the header is first name, last name. The second month, the header is first name, last name, and age, right? So the customer also keeps on changing the header, right? But still, I want to make it configurable. So how can I do that?
First, we need to create a build data table. I mean, we just
Hmm,
need to
hmm,
create a data table,
hmm,
and then later on we can check, okay, we use add headers to it.
hmm.
So if anything, I mean, after reading it, if anything misses, then it usually throws X.
Okay, so now in the
That is
add
one way.
header, I need in the build data table, I need to specify, right, that this is
Specify the
the first
headers. Yeah,
name, this is the last name,
yeah,
right? Now,
yeah, yeah.
this thing, am I going to hard code this first name and last name into the code?
Usually I did like if it is a build data table, then probably we need to.
Okay, okay, fine. So let's move forward. So we have validated the Excel and we are just storing it in the shared drive, right? Now, when
Mhm,
Rakesh
mhm,
is developing, Rakesh is storing this in his shared drive, which is, let's say, D data, UiPath, something, something folder, right? Now, I
mhm,
am a
mhm,
client of the customer. I want to store it in a different shared drive, right?
mhm.
How would I change this path?
So basically, whenever we are talking about the assets or any paths, better we can store this all information in the Orchestrator in asset. So as you know, like assets are four types:
Mhm,
Boolean, text, and integer and
mhm,
credentials type.
mhm,
So paths can be stored in text format, and the credentials can be stored in the credential.
mhm. Okay, okay.
So
And then
by that
you,
way, like we don't really need to change any
hmm,
code.
hmm.
We just change.
Okay, okay, understood. And then you read this data and you push it into the queue, right? Now,
Yeah.
which activity are you using to load the data to the queue?
So add queue item is the activity which I'm using present in my workflow. So
Hmm,
even I can I'll just pass the variables like the account name,
hmm, hmm.
account number to it.
Okay.
Even I
Now,
in reference also I
one
can.
question here. You have a data in a form of Excel. Okay.
Mhm, mhm.
When you read the data in UiPath, you get a data table, right? Now,
Yeah,
UiPath has this activity which is called bulk add. Have you heard of that?
yeah, I
Bulk
had
add,
of it.
right? So, what
Mhm.
does it do? It actually
It
directly
actually
uploads
adds
the
like
data table, right? Now,
yeah, yeah.
when you have a data table, if we have this bulk add, why are you using the add queue item and not using the bulk queue add item?
So basically to make so sometimes like if I use it for each row and
Mm-hmm,
keep a add queue item activity, then I
mm-hmm,
can mention reference there. So in add queue item,
mm-hmm.
I can put a reference to avoid
Mm.
duplicate data so that like no
Okay,
duplicate data can be
okay, got
repeated.
it.
I'm reflecting.
Okay, got it, got it. So now your data is added to the queue. You have all those details, right? Now, So when we add record first time to the queue, what is the status?
It will be new state.
It will be in the new status, right? And as soon as the robot picks it, it changes to
It
in
will be
progress.
in progress, and then based on like the
Yeah.
performer process, it will move to success, retry, or fail.
Absolutely right. Now let's say I added 10 items on Monday. Okay, 9 a.m. in the morning. I added 10 items. Robot queue has got 10 new items. My performer is not working at all. It's absolutely crashed, right? Some system exception happens with the
Yeah.
mainframe your web application, right? Now there are new items. Now, second day, what would happen? Tuesday, again, your uh, dispatcher robot will run and it will keep adding items to the queue, right?
Yeah.
So suddenly you would have a pile up of items in the dispatcher, a lot of items in the dispatcher, right? 10 from the first day, let's say 30 from the second day, and so on and so forth, right? So how did you manage this? Have you thought of this or?
So basically, like once, like if it is either, there are two ways we can do. First one is like we can have a backup dispatcher code, which like we can postpone the queue items to next day. And one more thing is like if the performer works fine today, I mean if it's the issues fixed, then we just need to arrange same setup in other instance so that we can run multiple. I mean we can run the bot in multiple instance so that it will process very quick, and this will save us our time. That is one way right now I'm thinking. And
Okay. Now I have one more question. Now let's talk about the performer now, right? Let's say I am writing using the performer and I am in the processing of each items, right? Now there, what is happening that my web application is down. So the robot goes to first item. It takes the item from the queue. It sees that, okay, web application is down and it mark as fault, right? It mark as failed, right? Now my queue has got 100 items, right? And I'm pretty sure that if my system is down, so it is going to be down for all the 100 items, right? So if I have 1000 items, if it is down for first, it is going to give the same exception. I do not want to happen this to all my transaction because that does not make sense, right? Because if your application is
yeah,
down,
it
there is
will
no
fail.
point in, it is going to fail all the
Trying
queues
more.
and then you have, a rework of
Yeah,
adding all the items and all, right? How can I
I don't
manage
say
this
so.
thing? Yeah.
So in Orchestrator, so uh, as 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 far as I remember, there is some setting uh, yeah, so whenever a particular so first one is like in code itself, we can put something. If there is system exceptions more than 3 times or 4 times, then usually the bot goes to the end. This is one way. And otherwise, like in Orchestrator also, like I think there is a setting whenever multiple application exception or multiple faulted bots comes, then usually it won't run. I mean, the pending jobs won't run.
Okay. Okay.
So first
Now,
one is like we can put a
yeah.
condition and initialization state itself stating, okay, if the system exception is more than 3 times, then usually the bot should throw a exception and go to the end state, and that can be easy way.
Okay. Uh, in RE framework, can you tell me what kind of exceptions are retried and which are not?
So basically, if you see, there are only two exception we mainly see. First one is system, another is a business exception. So if we get any business exception, usually we skip that and we proceed with the next transaction. If we get any system exception, then probably it will retry based on our, I mean, if we mention how many numbers we mention in the queue, I mean, in our queue retry count. So that many times it will retry, and then based on like if it's success, it will move to success. Otherwise, it will move to fail.
Let's say you're working for a business, okay, and he tells that I want to retry the business exception also at least once.
Okay.
Okay, how and
Given
where I
that
can change it? Yeah.
um, in the transaction state, if you see if a business exception is if you get any business exception, usually there is no increment in the count retry count. So that can be changed so that we can
And where this
we can
retry count would be there?
in say transactions sit down like if there are exception, then usually business, I mean system exception we get, it is connected to that module. If it is a business exception, it doesn't really connect it to that module, so we can give a connection there in a flowchart and we can make that, or else like we can directly write a code there setting, okay, don't move the I mean, I mean, better we don't really move
Hmm.
transaction item to the fail. Instead of doing that, we can put a condition like, okay, if the retry count is less than 3, then usually the bot, less than 1, usually the bot should not move the transactions to the fail. It should be moved to the retry. That can be done.
Understood. Understood. Okay, so I'm again going through your resume, and I see that in your span of 4.8 years, right? Uh,
Mm.
you only have 3 projects, or
No,
you have
I
only
have,
kept 3 projects.
yep, yeah.
Okay, so you have kept three
Mhm.
projects, but you have done more projects here, right? Okay,
Yep.
and there is a process in your thing which is for the healthcare domain, which is all about the PDF integration and all those things, right? Can you tell me what are the activities available in UiPath to read the PDF?
Read PDF is an activity to read the PDF.
Mhm.
And so after reading it, so based on our requirement,
Mm,
usually we use string manipulations or
mm,
regular expressions to extract particular fields from it. So that
mm.
is one way. Even we can
Okay,
use,
I have a question here. I have a table in the PDF. Okay,
mhm, mhm.
let's say grid which is having some tabular data, and
Yeah.
I want to put that data from PDF to Excel, right? How can I do that? Which activity I use?
Usually we can first perform, I mean, uh, if you see a structure from it,
Mhm.
and we can usually try to figure out the structure, and we can use string manipulations to get it done. That is one way, but yeah,
Mm.
it is little a lengthy process
Any other alternative you can suggest?
to get data table.
Mm,
I'm
mm.
not sure.
No worries. Okay, last question from my end. Uh, what is CyberArk and why do we use it?
So CyberArk, so in my process, like CyberArk is used to store up the credentials.
Mhm,
So actually, one of my banking client, they don't
mm,
really want to give us the
mm.
credentials. So what they did is like they used to put their credentials into
Mm.
CyberArk, so that
Yeah.
we used to just pass the credentials to directly to a robot instead of passing to the asset. So
Which
that
activity
way.
I use to, get this password from CyberArk?
Um So actually, we have cyber credentials, get credentials activity. I mean, we
Mm,
used to have a package there.
mm.
Uh, so we used to just get it from there.
Okay, cool. So I'm done with my set of questions. I don't have anything else, right? Let's jump to directly your feedback. Okay. So
Mhm,
overall, your interview was good, right? So you have answered me all the questions whichever I has. Most of the questions you have answered me correctly. Okay. Your introduction was good. Okay, so your explanation of project is also good. You have answered me the details about SMTP, mail list, all of that is correct. Okay. Uh, I was able to understand your project in the first go, and I don't have any problem there. Okay. There is one question which you have told me that how do I validate the blank in the Excel? If the Excel is blank, it is not going to give you object reference not set on instance. Okay.
mhm.
If the Excel is blank, you read in data table, the data table count would be 0. Okay,
Okay, row count will be zero.
row
Yeah,
count
got it.
would be
Yeah,
0, right? So
row
to
count will be
validate,
zero.
you do
Yeah,
not
that's
have to put, actually, you can put try catch. That's a good way, right?
mhm.
That's a good best practice. But simply, if your Excel is blank, you will not receive
Row count will
object
be
reference,
zero.
right? So you would reference data table as 0, right? So you can just try it on your own and you can clear it there. Your add
Okay.
header, first name and last name, right? Let's say you are telling me that you are going to hard code it, right? Whenever we are
Mhm,
doing our automation, we never hard code anything. Okay, all of the things are stored in a config. You are using a robotics enterprise framework. That means you
mhm.
have got a config here, right? So all this
Yeah.
header can be a part of your config file. The
Mhm.
reason for that, tomorrow if the client changes the header from first name to F
Definitely.
name or L name, I do not have to
Mhm.
change the code. I
Got
will
it.
just change the config. Okay. So
Mhm.
these are the questions which you have answered me incorrectly. Apart from that, for the this
PDF.
SM, yeah, sorry.
For PDF, I'm not sure about this. So
Yeah,
even
yeah,
that.
I am coming to there. I'm coming to there.
Oh, sorry
Okay.
for that. Yeah.
So now also one more thing, right? Whenever we are using the RE framework, right? We have the
Mhm.
config, right? So you
Mhm.
always has an option to store the thing in the config or in the assets, right?
Assets. Yeah.
So you have to decide which part we need to put in config, which part we need to put on assets. Okay.
Put it in assets. Sure.
Add queue item, bulk queue item, absolutely correct. We are using add queue because we got an option of references. You have answered me this
Mhm.
new in progress thing, everything correctly. One question which you have answered me partially correct is the max consecutive, right? Max
Mhm.
consecutive system exception, that what happens if there are continuous failure. That
Mhm.
setting is not in Orchestrator. That setting
Mhm.
is part of your config in the constants.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you need to do is you need to go back and see the RE framework again. It's not in your uh, orchestrator, it's in
Assets.
the config.
Set. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
Constants of your config, it's max consecutive system exception.
Yeah. In
Okay.
yeah that con. Yeah.
Right. Apart from that,
That.
this set transaction count, read PDF, everything, CyberArk is done. About
Mhm.
extracting the data from the PDF, right? So if you
Mhm.
are able to do with the help of string manipulation, that takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
However, I can simply open the PDF and I
Mhm.
can do data scraping. Sorry, data scraping,
Yes.
right?
Creating. Yeah.
The way we do extract the
But
table from the
I
web.
tried that, but I'm really didn't. I mean, it was really not accurate. So
Yeah.
that is the reason.
If it is not accurate, then the next solution is we go for something which is called document understanding.
Document understanding. Yeah. But
It's
usually,
yeah,
yeah. But companies don't really give us that. Any
yeah.
other way can we get that? So even I tried actually one of my tasks
See,
that left
once
out.
you start extracting the data and if it is not accurate, right? So you have something which is called computer vision also, right? But
Yeah.
the problem with this approach is the screen and all is that you have to,
Resolution only.
you have to work on the data massaging a lot. So that's the thing. Yeah, apart from that, your overall interview was good. And it was, that is it pretty much my feedback. Now I'll give it to you for your questions if you have any.
Yeah. So Mukesh, like one thing, so I
Hmm.
was keep on asking in many interviews saying that okay, people are asking something like okay, if we have bulk data in Excel
Hmm.
or in a text file, how we handle it. So
Hmm.
basically, what I'm answering is like I'll use invoke method to do that, but
Yeah.
people are really not satisfied with it. Any other method we have to do
So
that?
huge Excel, right? If you have a huge
Yes.
Excel, how? So UiPath has got this activities, right? First thing, if you update it to
Mm-hmm.
the latest thing, it is actually capable of handling the large Excels, right? But if it is extra large, then you have an option
Mm-hmm.
to use Excel as a database.
Yeah, that even I told them.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
Mm-hmm.
third option is you can actually read the data in chunks.
Chunks.
So chunks as in, let's say I have got 10,000. Okay. So I can read it 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. So first only
Got it.
read 1 to 2000, 2000 to
Mm-hmm.
4000, and so on and so forth, right? So this could be some of the option. And last, if nothing is working, I can always write a .NET code as you have correctly told, and I
Mm-hmm.
can directly read it via the file stream methods.
Um, so what is the exact difference between the local watch and immediate?
Okay, local watch and immediate. Okay, so watch panel is
Mm-hmm.
used to just watch as the name suggests, right? So let's say I have a
Yeah.
workflow where I want
Mm-hmm.
to see a variable when it is changing the value, right? So in the init, the value was 5, and somewhere in the
Mm-hmm.
process, it is changing the value to 6, right? I don't want to, now I want to know which part it is changing the value, right? So I can keep that variable on the watch and you can
Mm-hmm.
watch it changing as soon as the variable changes. Okay, you would actually able to see. Local, on the other hand, is used to actually see
Change the
all
value.
the variables value in the debug mode,
Mm-hmm.
all the variable values. You can see,
Mm-hmm.
you can manipulate, you can change it also. So let's say you have a value which is coming in local as 10 and you want to
Mm-hmm.
run the automation with the value called 15 in the local, you can go and change it to 15 and see how does the automation behave with 15. Okay. The third
Mm-hmm.
one is the immediate, that gives you an option actually
Mm-hmm.
to go and write expressions, right? So I'd say I have got a string
Okay.
variable.
Even conditions can be changed.
Even conditions, right? You can write there and you can do all of this, right? To do this, understand this, just go through the debugging chapter, which is available on UiPath Academy, and you would understand it.
Got it.
Okay.
That's it from my side.
Okay, cool. So last question, how was your feedback with this interview? Was it helpful?
Really helpful. Like even I just got little confidence. Okay, even I can crack interviews in MNCs too now.
Okay,
because I was just working on many startups, so really didn't got. I mean, yeah.
Nice,
So
nice.
is it okay, right? Like, do I need to improve anything else?
Yeah, no, just you need to just brush up your skills and you should be fine. Okay, whatever you mentioned in the resume, you're able to answer, and we are good there. Okay.
Thanks, Mukesh.
Fine. So we'd wrap this here. Thank you for joining in and have a good day.
Thanks, Mukesh. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, so that is all for this video. I would like to wrap this video here. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this mock interview insightful and you were able to get some knowledge out of it. Also, again repeating, in case you also want to have such mock interview with me, all you have to do is just drop me your resume on my email ID available in the description. So with that, we would wrap this video here. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please do subscribe to the channel and happy automation.